Interested in seeing the ornament of Natchez? Why don't we have a look around? I am such an old house freak, and I love this one. I've loved it ever since I was a little kid. It's called Stanton Hall, and it's in Natchez, Mississippi, on the banks of the Mississippi River. Now, what I love about this house is it's a big classical house. It's Greek Revival, very classical, but with an Italianate feel to it. Now, what's interesting is that you can go around the corner here in this neighborhood and you can see other houses that are earlier. This was built in 1857 by Frederick Stanton, and they're houses that are maybe 2 decades earlier. They're much more classical without a lot of the ornamentation, such as Choctaw and Cherokee. Now, some of the decoration that takes this house beyond just being a classical Greek Revival house would be the side porches you see here. You have a 2-story side porch made of ornamental iron. And if you'll look at the bay window, there are brackets, Italianate brackets that support the ceiling there. And then here on the front, you would typically in a classical house have a balustrade made of spindles or balusters. But what's being used here, of course, is this ornamental ironwork, which just puts that extra little touch on top of it. Just look at the size of this hallway. I mean, it's colossal. This thing is almost 72 feet long, 16 feet wide, and almost 17 feet tall. Now, what I love about this place is you could have a heck of a party here, and they certainly did. In fact, this man, Frederick Stanton, is the guy who built it. He wanted to create an ornament for Natchez. What I find interesting about this house and many houses is that there's always a range of furniture style in a single house, which makes a lot of sense. You think about it, a guy builds a big house like this, he's not going to furnish every single room with new furniture. They're going to bring things that they have into the new house, and that's what they did here. You see classical furniture here, like this pier table with a mirror below. Why is there a mirror below? Because in these big halls and rooms, they're always trying to reflect light, bringing light inside through the transoms and side lights around the doors. If you look down the walls of the hall, you'll see classical chairs, but you'll also see Gothic Revival like these. These are some of the originals that were in the house in 1857 when it was built. Of course, over time, transitions occur, styles change, and Stanton Hall is a perfect example of this. Take, for instance, the classical moldings we see here. There's the egg and dart motif right at the top, a symbol of life and death. And then there's that dentil, that classical dentil that goes around the room. And then the surrounds around the mirrors and the doors, you see that classic Greek honeysuckle motif. But then look at this arch. This arch is, well, it's Italianate Revival. Look at those clusters of grapes and leaves. It's becoming much more ornamental. And look at this mantle. It's filled with fruit and cherubs and all sorts of leaves and vines, very elaborate. And if you move right on up, take a look at that mirror, it's a very grand gesture. And the window treatments themselves, loaded with tassels and fringe. In the dining room, where there was much fun and banqueting going on, you had 2 sideboards. One, a very clean line classical piece. The other is Renaissance Revival, much more elaborate. And take a look at these 2 chandeliers, actually called gasoliers. They were made by Cornelius and Company in the 1850s. And they were called gasoliers because the flame that was held in that bowl was fueled by gas. I love locally made furniture. This table was made here in Natchez in 1837. Now, when you come upstairs, you can see that the molding, the detail, the architecture is really much more simple, but there's still elements of transition. You have a gasolier here, but you also have these beautiful canopy beds from the 1820s and 30s. Really, really quite extraordinary. If you've enjoyed this little walk through time, make sure you subscribe to ehowhome. I wonder if there are any ghosts around this place.